Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back, everyone, to Answers for Elders Radio. And we are here with Allyson Schreier, who is the CEO and founder of Zinnia TV, www.zinniatv.com. Please check them out if you know of someone that has Alzheimer's or dementia. And by the way, Allyson, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Allyson, first of all, how many of us are out there? I think there's 70,000 family caregivers out there right now caring for loved ones. And I know that a great percentage of them, not 70,000, 70 million in the US, great percentage of them are caring for someone with dementia. Also, the holidays are coming up. We're going to be having our loved ones into our home. And obviously, there's all kinds of visual stimulus that happens. I am just curious if we could start this segment out talking about the red flags. What are things in an environment that we should be mindful of if we have someone with dementia in our lives?
Sure. Okay. So some of the things in the environment that we should be mindful of. Let's see, I guess we'll start with clutter. It becomes increasingly difficult for people to find things when they are living with dementia, and also decision-making becomes very, very challenging. So when I'm talking about clutter, I am talking about things like tripping hazards, of course, because the changes in my vision may result in me not being able to take in everything that's around me.
Mm-hmm.
So move obvious things that people could trip over, including things like throw rugs. Like throw rugs are a very, very bad idea, especially when we have people who are maybe using a walker, for instance. So get rid of those kinds of things. Also, it is kind to make it easier for people to find things. So if, for instance, the things that my mom really uses all the time are maybe her TV remote,
Mm-hmm.
cell phone, for instance, then on the table next to where she sits should just be those two things.
Mm-hmm.
I would just have looking at my own desk, just a sea of stuff. And with my healthy brain, I'm able to go to it and find the thing that I'm not so much if I'm a person living with dementia. Similarly, I think about a person's closet when they are living with dementia. If you think about in your mind, go into your own closet, right? Like how you find stuff. I want people to be really, really successful in what they set out to do when they have dementia. And I want them to do as much as they can for themselves as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe what I do is I just leave in the closet the 4 shirts that they most
Mm-hmm.
love, 2 pairs of pants that they most
Mm-hmm.
love.
Mm-hmm.
Is very accessible. And even as their dementia progresses, maybe I change that up. So there's just 1 shirt and 1 pants. So when I say, hey, why don't you go get dressed? They can easily find the things that they need.
Yeah.
So this also impacts like in the kitchen, for instance, that maybe what I want to do is change things around. So in the kitchen, I use hooks and I hang up utensils so that things are really easy for them to find. Maybe, again, go in your own mind to your utensil drawer, like what's in there? How many vegetable peelers do you really
need? Exactly. Especially if you've lived in a house for, 40 years, 50 years, you've had things sitting there for that long of a period of time. And how many things do you actually need or that you need to use?
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
let's get rid of that clutter. Thinking about patterns can be confusing. So have rugs that have patterns on them. Maybe I want to put something on that doesn't have a pattern. Thinking about dark colors that can be very confusing. And I know we'll be talking more about colors, but if I have a dark throw rug by the floor, or, where people come in and they wipe their feet, for somebody with dementia, that can actually look like a hole in the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Cross over to that area. We can also start doing things like labeling items in the house to make them easier to find. I think about when my stepdad, one of his jobs every day was to make the coffee, and it became increasingly hard for him to find the coffee, to be able to make the coffee, because he couldn't remember the procedure, and he couldn't really sometimes put the cream into the coffee maker, for instance, water. So being able to add labels to things, like put labels on that identify what's behind those cabinets and behind those cabinet doors. And a label could be a word. You can often still read words. It can also be an image. So maybe on the bathroom door, we have a picture of a toilet. On the coffee maker, we have a picture that says, that has a picture of the water, like or the word water, or a little picture of water. Maybe we set a picture of water next to the coffee maker, so do it. Maybe I have a little card next to the coffee maker that outlines the steps that we need to follow. On my floor, I actually use like tape, to like that kind of blue masking tape and arrows, and I make an outline that follows a map on the floor that shows the route.
What about outdoors? What are the things that we should look at for the outdoor area?
Well, first of all, give us access to the outdoors, right? We want to make sure that our lighting is natural lighting as much as possible. So open windows and blinds to get to the outdoors. I think similarly, well, we want to make sure that the outdoors is safe. If a person is going to go outdoors, is the access from the house to the outdoors easily accessible? I think there are people who specifically design spaces for people with dementia who for instance, any kind of lifted threshold that could cause somebody to trip on their way out, because dementia might not see that. I want to make sure that the outdoors also is clutter free, that there is not an opportunity for somebody to, if leaving the yard would be dangerous because they could wander. I want to make sure that we don't create opportunities for them to get lost in the neighborhood and the greater
So supervised, but also I would say, certainly have maybe a fence that locks, or have some sort of a device so that they feel like they can walk around the yard and they're not locked in, but at the same time, they don't walk out, because I do know that there's a tendency to wander.
There absolutely is. And I can create opportunities for them outdoors for things that draw them outdoors that are interesting to them. So maybe I have a raised bed that's at waist level that has plants in it, that we can go and feel things and smell things and look at.
Yeah. That's so important. And like just with the leaves changing in the fall, which is coming up, I mean, going out and seeing, the beautiful colors, and maybe, if you have, you're raking leaves or whatever, bring some leaves to them where they touch and feel and things like that. I think those things are what's valuable.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. Remembering who they were before they had dementia and giving them access to that person. So if they were a gardener, if they love birds, right? Maybe what I do, I have bird houses out in the yard. Maybe they still have jobs, and maybe their job is to build a bird feeder, for instance.
So everyone, Allyson and I, we're going to be right back right after this. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.